Hey everyone, welcome to the first official episode of Six Figures to Bigger Figures. This is my journey of how I inherited, lost, regained, and will surpass a six-figure net worth. And I'm bringing you guys along for the journey, okay? Now for those who were here last week and are wondering, well, what was that? Well, that was the intro, all right? So this is official number one, the first episode, right? Episode one. This is where I'm gonna start. This is where I'm gonna begin giving out information, right? Information that I believe you can use, all right? Free advice, all right? So I proposed two subjects for this episode on my Instagram and Facebook page, both of which you should follow at 6FTBF, cheap plug. And the first was, what was the first step I took towards financial responsibility, or you should take towards financial responsibility? And the second being, what is the status update of the COVID stimulus check? Not surprisingly, the COVID stimulus check won, right? Everyone wants to know what's going on with this thing. It's free money, so that's gonna get the most attention, and that's completely fine. I'm gonna continue in the next episode on the first step towards financial responsibility, all right? So anyway, let's get into it. What is the COVID stimulus check? Now, unless you've been living under a rock, which I know you haven't, the world essentially has been devastated by COVID-19, right? Lives have been lost, and the economy has taken a pretty good hit, right? The unemployment has doubled, unemployment rates are high, and in order to combat this, right, President Trump signed a $2 trillion bill known as the CARES Act to help jumpstart the economy. Okay, this economy that we're living in is a big machine, but it's clunky, right? If it stops, it's a lot of pain, right? We can't afford it to stop. We got to keep that thing going. So the government injected $2 trillion from thin air to help jumpstart the economy. I'm not gonna get into all the items of the bill, but I wanna highlight a couple things for you guys, right? One is the payback protection program, right? Sorry, the paycheck protection program, excuse me. That's a forgivable loan that can be used towards payroll, utility, and rent. And in order for this to be forgivable, you just need to not fire anyone, right? The other item is an extension of the economic injury disaster loan. This is a low interest loan and has been extended to include a grant to assist those businesses that suffered losses due to COVID-19. Another item is their extra payments on unemployment benefits, so things about $600 or something like that. There's also the removal of the IRA withdrawal penalty, all right? So for those who don't know, if you're contributing to an IRA program, you can't touch that money until you're 59 and a half, right? Retirement age. And if you do, not only do you get taxed at the marginal rate for what you took out, you also get a 10% penalty. That 10% penalty, if you withdraw that money up to $100,000 before the end of this year, there will be no 10% penalty. In addition, if you repay that IRA loan within 3 years, you won't get charged tax either, right? There will be no tax liability. So essentially, it's a tax-free loan for 3 years. Now, I'm not gonna get into this I'm not gonna get into it right now, but I don't want you guys getting into that, right? This is just some FYI, unless you have some really dire straits, or maybe there's a business you want to invest in, right? Then I'm gonna start listening. But just putting that out there. And of course, there's also something called the recovery rebate. That's your check, okay? So let's get into it. How much is it? It's up to $1,200 for individuals and up to $2,400 for couples married filing jointly. And there's also in addition $500 for each qualifying child that you have, all right? Now, what are the limitations? Because there are limitations. Got my notes here, right? I want to make sure I stay on track. The rebate begins to phase out for individuals at $75,000. Okay, it reduces by $5 for each $100 you make over 75,000, right? And completely phases out at 99,000. So if you're an individual, living la vida loca, living dolo, making almost six figures, 99,000, good for you, life is good, it gets nothing, all right? Or as I say, where we come from, you get wet, all right? Same thing for those couples married filing jointly. It begins to phase out at 150,000 at the same rate essentially, and completely phases out at 198,000. Okay, so if you're making big bucks, it gets nothing. All right, oh yeah, what do you have to do to receive the check? All right, so in order to receive the check, you want to make sure that you filed either your 2018 return or your 2019 return. If you haven't filed your 2019 return, it's okay, it's fine, right? Then the Department of Treasury will just depend on your 2018 return. If you haven't filed your 2018 return, then things looking a little rough for you, right? So what you want to do is make sure you file the 2018 return ASAP. All right, this is very important because this is how they establish what your income thresholds are, right? To see how much money you're gonna get, and also it's gonna determine the method in which you're gonna get your money, right? If you look at your tax return, it has your address on it, your mailing address. It has in some cases, your bank information on there. So they're gonna use this information to send you that check. So if you usually get your refunds or you make payments via your bank account, they have all that information there and they're going to use that, right? They're going to leverage that. Now, if that information for some reason has changed, the Department of Treasury is going to create a database, so you go in there and update that, right? If you need to know that database, go ahead and DM me and I'll let you know, all right? So what is the timeline for receiving the checks? The Department of Treasury will begin issuing checks as of today. Now, if you haven't received your check as yet, it's okay, don't worry, right? They're issuing the checks on a progressive scale, right? Which means that the lower your income, the quicker you receive this money. The idea is that if you're a lower income, you're in more need of the money, right? If you're at the top of that threshold, then it could be as late as September before you get that money. So not only would it be less, you have to wait a whole lot longer for it, right? For those who didn't know, now you know, the middle class gets the pinch. All right, welcome to life. Remember that this is how it is. This is how the game is, right? Middle class gets the pinch. So if you're out there balling out of control, air quotes, you have to wait longer or you get nothing. All right. Now, what should you do with this check? I want to be very careful with this, right? Because I want to come off tone deaf. Because I know some of us are really in need of this check, right? Some of us are really waiting for this check. We have bills piling up. We have consumer debt piling up. We need light, we need food, we need toilet paper. Anyway, right? You need to purchase things immediately, and I get that. Hear me out. I want you to take 10%. Take 10% of that, of what you receive, and open a brokerage account with either E-Trade, Merrill Edge, Robinhood, whomever. Make sure there's 0 commissions, right? Open one of those and pick 3 stocks, 1 to 3 stocks, and invest in it and buy it, okay? Right now, the stock market is at historic lows right now, all right? Those in the know and those with money are investing in the stock market, all right? Everyone is running away. You should run too. But you can be careful, right? You can just dip your toe in. So that's what I'm telling you, get 1 or 3, right? Get 1 or 3. And I'm gonna give you some suggestions. They're just merely suggestions, right? Don't at me. But I really want you to get into stocks that you believe in, right? That's the idea. Get into stocks that you believe in. Get the feel for it, right? See it go up and down, right? See how the gains go. See how that works. get that feeling, right? It's gonna do something, trust me. Now, if you don't need this money, right, and this is all just gravy for you, then I'm gonna hold you to a different standard, okay? I wanna make sure that 90% of this money goes to a brokerage account, all right? 10% of it, you could, take off, whatever, I don't care. But 90% of it, you need to make work for you, all right? Because if you're in this position where you don't necessarily need this money, that means you have a higher marginal propensity to save, right? Tongue twister. That's just a fancy way of saying you have more money after you pay all your bills, right? So if you have a higher marginal propensity to save, if that's your core strength, or that's one of your core strengths, then you need to play that card, right? Remember, like I said earlier, this is a game, right? And all of us have a deck of cards, right? And if you have in your deck of cards good credit, you have capital, you have knowledge, maybe you inherited some money and then blew it off, I don't know, right? Play your cards, all right? This is what I want you to do. All right, so the three stocks I want you to get into. I'm gonna loosely suggest, and then you research it on your own. First one, you probably use it every day, all right? If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, you probably should get some Facebook stock, all right? Because they're investing in you, right? All that nice little data you got there is theirs, so you might as well you invest in them, right? One suggestion, Facebook. The other would be Berkshire Hathaway, BRK-B. This is the B-side stocks of Warren Buffett, who's known as the Oracle of Omaha. He's worth $89 billion, so he kind of knows what he's talking about, right? He has about 40 companies in which he invests in. He also has real estate and other private dealings that he has, and it's all packaged in this one security called BRKB. There's also the A side, but that's like a lot, right? He's like 5 figures, and who has that, right? So get into the B side of it, right? This one's like more affordable, it's like less than $200. And then the last one I'm gonna suggest for you to do your own research on is AT&T, all right? AT&T has been issuing dividends for 35 years. That's older than some of you guys, right? They've been increasing the dividends for over 35 years, right? So this is a dividend strategy. This is a dividend stock, right? So get you a couple of those, or one of those, right? The other two, Berkshire Hathaway B shares and the Facebook, those are valuation stocks, right? The value stocks. So you're gonna make your money as they increase value. The idea is they're gonna take that money that they make, reinvest it back in the company, and make the company grow, make it better, et cetera, right? Dividend stocks, different strategy. You buy our stock, thank you for holding the stock, you get a piece of the pie. All right? So that's what I want you guys to do. Please like, share, subscribe, right? And remember, lastly, but surely not least, I'm not trying to preach to you, just trying to show you a vibe. Peace.
It's 6 digits.